Hello everyone, my name is James Fox. I'm Director of Studies in History of Art at 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘯𝘦𝘤𝘵, and for the last, 8 or 9 years I have been writing a cultural history of colour, which is finally about to be published in August or September of this year by 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘯𝘮𝘬𝘮. So what I thought I'd do is I would make 7 short videos, each about 5 minutes long, on 7 different colours that will come out on 𝘰𝘰𝑯𝑀A Connects and only on 𝘰𝘰𝑯𝑀A Connects every month until my book is published later this year. Now I thought I would begin with black, which many people don't even think is a colour. Now I have to say I feel extremely sorry for black, not only because people deny that it's a colour, but because it's had a really bad press. People even think it's unlucky or evil. I mean, in the English language, what do you do if you think something's bad? Well, basically you put the word black in front of it. And what do you do if you're a filmmaker? Well, you invariably put your villains in black outfits. This isn't just a cultural phenomenon. It translates into real life as well. Studies have found, for instance, that sports teams who wear black strips get penalised far more often than teams in other colours. And the prejudice goes back very, very early. Other studies have found that children as young as 3 already express a prejudice against black things and black animals. So why is this? Well, I suspect it's partly because black is traditionally connected to darkness, which many of us don't like. And yet that wasn't always the case. For many centuries, black really had no connection to darkness at all. If anything, it was connected to light. In fact, our very word for black, the English adjective black, comes from the Proto-Indo-European term bleg or bell, which originally meant burn or gleam or shine or even flash. What's more, darkness isn't actually black. If you ever test this out, if you ever go into a very dark room at night, you close the curtains, you cover your eyes as firmly as you can, and you cut out all light reaching your retina, you will not see blackness, you will see a grey. You will see Eigengrau, brain grey. When we see no light at all, we see grey, not black. So absolute darkness is not black at all. Now what I argue in my book, and what I'm going to argue very briefly here, is that black is actually rich and luscious and generous, that it's full of light and full of colour, and that artists were among the very first people to recognise this. Now the first masters of black probably originated in East Asia, and medieval Japan in particular developed a real proclivity for dark monochrome design, and you can see it in those traditional houses, in their black lacquerware, in the beautiful raku tea bowls, but above all in inkwash painting. And this is one of my favourites. This is the splashed ink landscape by the Japanese painter Sesshu, and it was made astonishingly in 1495. It's amazingly abstract and suggestive, but it shows a pub by a lake in the misty mountains. And you can just make out some people rowing a boat across the water here. But what's so impressive about this painting is how much variety Sesshu gets from one colour black. He uses it thin and thick, he uses it wet and dry, he uses it dark and light to create a whole rainbow of effects. And I think no one can look at this painting and then still maintain that black is a kind of nothingy darkness. Now it took many, many centuries for European artists to recognise the beauty of black in quite the same way, but when they got there, they really did get there. And this is Manet's 1872 portrait of Berthe Morisot. Now, I have looked at this painting many, many times over the years, and by my count, black serves at least 8 different functions here. Number 1, it's used wet and thick to simulate velvet, fur and satin. 2, it's used dry and thin to evoke the crisp edge of the taffeta bustle. Number 3, it's mixed with brown and white to represent the fabrics in the light. Number 4, it's mixed with synthetic ultramarine, a blue colour, to depict them in the shadows. Number 5, it acts as an outline. Number 6, it frames and sets off the delicate flesh tones of Morisot's face. Number 7, it's used in almost tiny, almost invisible quantities to modulate skin, eyes, hair and background. And finally, of course, number 8, it's even used in Manet's signature. Manet's painting confirms what Seychelles' painting confirms, and that is that black is the most useful, the most versatile, and perhaps the most beautiful colour of them all. And I don't know what he would have done without it. Although the prejudice against black persisted and in fact grew in the modern period, within the spheres of culture and art and design, it really became very popular in the 20th century. And the one area where it remains preeminent is the realm of fashion, because whether it's a black tie or a black dress or black underwear, black is still seen as smart, as neutral, as timeless, as chic. In fact, it's so synonymous with high style that voguish things, fashionable things, are invariably and very boringly called the new black. Now, I'd like to say so much more, but unfortunately I have run out of time in this short video. Thank you very much for listening, and please do return next month when I will be talking about the colour red.